Rightio, here I am, I'm back again. I'm going to put this engine together, the CS Lister. And this is the big end. And I've got new bearing shells in there now. They came the other day. Now, according to the manual, the book, big end bearings, they should be free, but clearance must not exceed 0.03 of an inch. It's pretty much 2 1/4. So, and the big end is, it was there. So we've got 0.1 of a millimetre for our oil clearance. I don't know, I think that's pretty good. I've got some plastic gauges there. It's just very hard to get to them. And if I get it on there, I reckon I'm going to leave it on there. If it'll turn freely, I'm going to leave it because we can't do anything. If it's tight, then we got to do something. So that's where I'm at. Righto, I'm going to undo them here. I've got marks. I've got each bolt, exactly where it's going to go and which side, and where the holes will line up. That's what those are for. And they're torqued to something that will line the holes up. And it's about the same, and it's pretty good, and I read it's exactly where they came out. Righto, fellas. I've been in here, and I've had a few troubles. These two come in the packet, so I've put them together, and I've had a bit of trouble there because this measurement and that measurement were vastly different. So I've found I've had to pop this shell out here, flip it around, and then I've found that it's about that measurement there, that way, and that way, and that way. So that was my predicament. That was the trouble I was in. And that's taken me a while to mess around getting that right. So we now have our 4th hour clearance back. So I'm happy about that. Okay, here we are at the engine. And I'm just going to do a little bit here. That's the old ring. And that's how much ring gap we've got. So I'll put the new one in and have a look there. That's the difference. I think it's reading about 14 thou. Righto, this is me heating the piston up. You have to heat the piston up to get that gudgeon pin to slide straight through. Hopefully that's the plan. Doesn't need to be that hot. Gudgeon pin out of the freezer. I've got to get my hand in here and get it all lined up. And hopefully just slide it straight in. Like that. Righto, gudgeon pin is in. And I'll just... And she's sitting up in there, can't see it. Not to worry. I'm just going to put the piston down here like this, get a bit of oil in here. I'll just do one ring at a time. And I'll slowly just poke them rings in and let it sit down until I get it down onto the crankshaft. Righto, I've got him sitting there now. Sitting there ready to pull him down. There it comes. There it is. It's going to fit in there all right. I'll oil him up and put some good stuff in there. I've got some Moories. And then I'll put the cap on and do it up. There it is. I use a bit of that when I put engines together. Good honey stuff. Looks like honey. It's good, good stuff. Rightio. Match those numbers up. Back bolt goes in first. And I'll mess around here off camera to get that done up. There it is. Got them done up, all nice and tight, and it's free. I've got a little bit of movement there, and it's just nice. Goes around beautifully. So I'm happy with that. Now this tray goes on in here. Come on. No. And he sits in there. I'll put the bolt in. Now that tin plate seems to just sit in there like that. Anyway, she's good now. Got him done. Cylinder head gasket. Sitting on there, not too bad. Righto, there it is. Ready to go up on there. Let's not wait any longer. They're all screwing on there fine. Always when you're doing little old engines or the old engines, you've got silly stuff going on. Should be better. Let's see if that'll start. Yep, it's going down. There it is. Going down good. Well, how much tension do I put on them? There's no specification of a torque, so it's sort of make it up as you go, I think. That might do for a bit. I think what I need to do now is probably put it on the ground. I'm going with 150. I'm going to start putting a bit of rocker gear on there. What we have got to do is I've got to get some grease in here. I have cleaned it out. And that's got to be filled all up with grease. And that's how you grease there's no oil to the top end in this engine. You've got to grease the top end. Grease these rockers. I've just shoved a whole heap of grease in here. Let's see if I can get a bit more. It doesn't seem to want to. Like that. Oh, well, get some in there maybe. Yep, coming out there. Grease coming out there, that's good. Tappets are loose. Now this is the intake side. I'm putting that on. We've got an air cleaner for this one. This is the exhaust pipe. New gasket. And there's the valves adjustment. Inlet valve should be 17 1/1000s. Exhaust 32 1/1000s. So that's what we set them at. Here we are. A 14 and an 18. 14 and an 18 equals 32. And I've set them there, they're pretty good. I thought they were really loose, but turns out they weren't too bad. And there's an 18. And we'll shove that in there, and that should give us a bit of pretty close amount. So that they're all good, but they're loose. But that's it, that's what they're supposed to be. Putting the injector pipe on. Oh, well, I've got the oxy set out. I've got some steel beam here. I'm going to make a frame to sit this engine on. So 1500, I'll cut him off, cut the other end off, and I'll see how we go. And I'm in here making this frame up for this engine. Yep, I'll have it. Here we are. I'm welding it up now. Right, I've got this frame made. This is where I'm getting my frame sorted out. We've got a water tank and the engine there. We've just got to put it all together. before you start anything up, you've got to put a bit of oil down in them, in the big end. See if I can get him too. They're full. Before you turn him over. I've oiled them up pretty well, but just make sure they're full. You've got to put a bit of oil up here, bit in them. Bit on some of these. Some of these bits in there. These bits. And of course down in here. That's the end bearing. I don't know whether I can get, can't see it in there, but I get in the squirt. And getting closer to and give it a start. I've got to put some, sort the fuel out, and then we're good. And you've got to give this a few pumps too. I've heard people say 20 pumps, but I don't know. I don't think you need that many. Time to put that on, the gasket on, and this cover on here. I suspect it'll probably oil go everywhere if you don't put it on. Yeah, righto, I'm getting closer. I've got a bit of a fuel tank up there, and the pipe comes down to the fuel filter there, and I'm going to try and give it a bit of a bleed here. So we'll see how we go. It's, I think we've got most of it out there. Let's bleed up. Sometimes you seem to have to do the delivery valve a bit. Just make sure that's got no air in it. It looks like it wants to, but then we've got to turn it over till we get a squirt out of there. That's enough, that'll fill the pipe. Now we've got it coming out near the injector there now. Hear that squawk? That's the injector working. So we've got the fuels up now. Rightio, I've had a bit of trouble trying to get it to go. Won't go. And I mucked around here for quite a bit there, and I could smell it really bad. Took the injector. So I pulled the injector out, taken over to the tester, put 150, 140 bar on it, tightened the spring up in there, and I think it's going to go this time. In fact, it will go this time. So here we go. Doing around about 500 to 600 revs.